So what I'm going to have you do to start here is I'm going to have you download an app that we're going to use. And I told you at the beginning of training that we use an app for almost everything that we do with this job, right? It's called the Q app. So I'm going to screen share here. So go to the App Store on your phone and search the Q app, or you can just go to tinyurl.com, download Q. So what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have you download this. I'm not going to have you do anything with it yet. We're going to do a little exercise, and then we'll come back to this. All right, now you might be wondering which Q app is it? It's the one that has the icon of a phone. It's not the one that's got like 3 heads. I think it says something like crushing phone jams or conquering phone jams or something like that. It's an app that's made for this job, okay? So go ahead, download that. Once it's downloaded, you really don't have to do anything with it yet. We're going to do some stuff with it in a little bit, okay? If you're having trouble finding it, just message your manager real quick and they can help you out, okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do. So put that off to the side. Now what we're going to do this kind of exercise contest, brainstorming, call it what you will. For this, you want to have a fresh spot in your notes or type. You can type as well. That's fine. We're going to do a brainstorming session. I'm going to give you about 6 minutes for this exercise, but you got to play along. Go all out for these 6 minutes. Okay. But we go through this pretty quickly. So here's what this is. The objective of this is to get you free flowing in terms of your thoughts. Okay. It's pretty normal in training, I'm sure, that you thought of at least somebody in training that you're like, oh, that could be a good person to show to, right? That's pretty normal when you're sitting in Cutco training. All right. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to make a list. We are not, this list, this thought jogging list is actually not a list of who are you going to show Cutco to. It's not a list of who you think is going to buy Cutco. It's not a best prospects list. This list is legitimately just who do you know. Now, this is a guided exercise, okay? So please don't just start writing. Like, I want you to follow kind of my prompts as we go through this. The idea here is for you to come up with as many people as you can. I'm kind of trying to make a point as we go through this as well. So please do not give it any thought of like, do I think they're going to buy? Like, no thoughts given about that. We're going to go super fast. The objective is just to jot down as many as you can. Here's the criteria. They must be alive. Okay, I do not care how old or young, they must be alive. And number 2 is you have to kind of know them. In other words, an acquaintance. Okay, but you can't just be picking random, like you got to kind of know the person. All right. Now, you're not going to hand this in. I'm going to ask you at the end of this to add up how many you do. Does that make sense? So I'm going to have you tallied up at the end. But in other words, I'm telling you this because your penmanship, I don't care. What if you like have nicknames? Cool. Nobody's going to see this. Okay, we're going to kind of take you on your honor here for this. So I'm going to give you a category, and then I'm going to ask that you write the category down and then go to town. Does that make sense? I'm not going to give you nearly enough time to actually finish the category. So the reason I'm giving you categories so you can go back to it later if you want to. I might get to a category that you don't have a lot of people, right? Church is one of the categories that I'm going to go through. If you don't go to church, then go back to one of the other categories. Does that make sense? So the objective here is just like pure activity for 6 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to screen share. I'm going to put the categories up as we go. So, all right. So first category, and I'm going to time this again. Like I said, we're going to do this for 6 minutes. So go as fast as you can. And go. Okay, first category is family/relatives. Family/relatives. Go ahead and write down aunts and uncles, grandparents, think of cousins, think of in-laws. Okay, next category, family friends/parents friends. Remember, it doesn't matter where these people live. Family friends/parents friends. So if you had a graduation, which families came to your grad party, right? That weren't family. If your parents go out to the bar, who do they go with? Family friends / parents friends. Next category, go ahead and write down as neighbors. Neighbors. So this would be, you know, anybody who lives near you now or has lived near you. Define neighbor however you want. Neighbors. Next category, go ahead and write down church / synagogue / whatever religious affiliation that you have. If you don't go to church, think of somebody that comes to mind when I say church. Next category, people from parents' work. People from parents' work. People from parents' work. Coworkers, right, of mom or dad. You've heard them talk about coworkers. My first homemaker sale was to the admin assistant at my dad's work. All right, next one is friends' parents. So think of any friends of yours, any friends' parents. Remember, these aren't people that you're going to try and sell Cutco to. This is just literally anyone, right? That we're just thought jogging, get as many names on paper as possible. All right. Next category, teachers / coaches. Teachers / coaches. Jot down any teachers that if you were a great student, write down all your favorite teachers. If you weren't a great student, write down all the ones that you didn't like because they asked you to do stuff. Teachers / coaches. Next category, friends / bosses from other jobs. So think of past coworkers. Again, think of the people that you liked working with at past jobs. Think of the people you didn't like working with. You don't have to, this isn't a list of people you're calling. This, again, it's just names of people. Next one is write down any brothers or sisters, friends. Any brothers or sisters, friends, parents. Almost done. We got two more. Next one is boyfriend / girlfriend family. This could also be in-laws if you're married. If you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, or if they don't have a big family, do ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend family. You don't have to call these people. This is just a thought jogging list. Jot down as many as you can. Last one would be anyone that you've done business with in a professional sense. When I say you, I mean your family. So go ahead and write down like doctor, dentist, hairstylist, insurance. All right. Go ahead, tally it up. Add up how many you got. Tally it up. Post it in the chat, like chat me or chat your manager with how many. Curious on the number. You guys are figuring out how to chat. I'm seeing some in the 30s. Some in the 40s. See 60, 63, 68 from Skylar. Ooh, 75 from Zane. 50s, 30s, 40s. 112 from Ronnie. Ooh, look out. Fast fingers. JJ, 83. 84 from Dre. All right. Here's the idea. You guys are able at 79. That's only one side of the family, somebody said. 92 from Lauren. Mason, 100. Okay, so guys, here's the deal with this. This list is kind of proof that it's like, it's really simple for people to kind of be like closed-minded and be like, I only know so many people. In reality, we know tons of people. It doesn't mean that we talk to people all the time. It doesn't mean that we interact with all sorts of people all the time, but we know so many people. And one of the things with this job is starting out with an initial list, okay? So let me explain this initial list. The initial list is your initial list that is totally yours, nobody else's. And from that, the more that's on it, the pickier you get to be. Does everybody follow that? So Representative A, Representative B, let's say they're both only going to do 15 appointments. Well, if Representative A has 100 names on their list and Representative B has 20, you could assume that Representative A is probably going to have a higher quality 15, right? Which means if they have a higher quality 15, they're probably going to have more success. Also, what matters is that who you start with is typically the types of recommendations that you're going to get. Does everybody follow that? So we always want to encourage you to start off with a really big list, regardless of how many appointments that you're going to do. So let me show you something that's really cool. Okay, go ahead and open up that Q app, and I'm going to have you use this real quick. We're going to do this for kind of not all the remainder of training, but for the next 10 minutes or so. So what I want you to do, this app is great because it gives you kind of a head start instead of doing it all on paper. So open the app up. What you're going to do is put your information in there. Don't click register. You got to click connect manager. Okay, so what that means is you're putting yourself in that office. So you're going to put your manager's name in the section that it says office teams. For Minneapolis, if you're in the Minneapolis office, if it says MPLS, you're actually going to put my name, not Colleen's. So I'm going to say that again. Colleen's in the Minneapolis office, but my name would be the one that connects it to that office. You could also do a search for just your office's name. So go ahead and do this. Log yourself in. You can make a little account. This is in the Q app. It should be pretty simple to find the office and connect to the manager. Okay. Oh, all right. When you connect, by the way, when you connect with your manager, what you're going to do is, for a little bit of a head start, this is where you're going to keep your list, by the way. Okay. So let me explain what we used to do. We used to say, hey, go home after the first day of training, make a big list, as many resources as you can, the more the better. All right, well, now what we can do, instead of having it on paper, we do everything in an app, which is great because then you are way more organized with your stuff. It's not kind of on random paper that you lose. It's always in your phone, okay? So in this app, what it allows you to do is to add people, but it also allows you to take from your phone book, like your own personal, right? So everybody look on my screen here. When you get into the home screen, there's gonna be like some orange, some blue, some white. Click on the settings thing right here, that little icon for settings. When you get in there, there's gonna be a spot that says import contacts. This picture here is a little outdated. I think it's like right in the middle of the page. It says import contacts. Click that, and then this is what it's gonna ask you to do. So it's gonna show up like this, and what it's gonna ask is, what category do you want to put that person? So here's what the categories are, okay? So the categories are customer, which would be anybody who's over 30 that could own a home. That doesn't mean that you have to call them, by the way, right? What does this mean? It means that they would be in that kind of category. And you could choose to call them, you could choose to skip them, it's totally up to you. Friend is anybody who basically doesn't fit that criteria, right? Guys, you might have somebody in your phone that you don't like who's 20 years old, like you're not friends with them, still put friend, okay? This is just like your own housekeeping in your app. And then the last option is neither. So that would be like Domino's, Verizon Bill Pay, all that, okay? Now, by the way, this app, you're the only one that has access to that. You're the only one that has access to any of that stuff, okay? What we get to see on our end is when you book appointments, when are they? How many do you have? Does everybody follow that? So the bookkeeping side of things for pay is available for the manager to see. Everything else that you have in there is just yours. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you go through and take 5 minutes and go through and do customer friend neither. Guys, if you mess up, it's not a big deal. Like again, this is just yours. So you can go back later and fix it. But go through and do customer friend neither. What this is gonna do is it's gonna show you kind of what your personal resource situation is before I kind of give you the assignments for this evening. All right, so go do that real quick, 5 minutes or so, just customer friend neither, and do as many of those as you can. When you're done, you'll just hit the next button. And then I'll show you what the options are. When you hit the next, you're pretty much done. I'm just going to show you on my screen here in a minute what you're able to do if you want to. This app is pretty cool though. Okay. If you're having a little bit of an issue, message your manager. Also, if you're having an issue, your manager can help you with a quick phone call right after training today. So keep cranking. Almost done. And guys, instead of, because if you get to somebody that you're not certain on, I'd make a guess. So you at least are getting through all of it. And then, like I said, later you can change them or recategorize them or something like that. Okay. So keep rolling through it. Some of you have really big phone books. You might not. I would like everybody to finish in training, but you know, if you've got an absolute ton, it might take you too long. Just get as many done as you can for right now. When you're done, do me a favor. At the bottom of your screen, you got these little reactions. Give me one of these. Give me the thumbs up when you're done. It's a lot easier for me to see that colored icon than it is for like somebody going like this. So give me the thumbs up when you're done. Cool, starting to see some. Some of you guys are still cranking through.
What am I supposed to do again?
Okay, so just
Like, can you go back to like how to get into this app?
yep. So we're gonna kind of keep rolling. So for whoever that was, just call your manager right after train, and they can walk you through it. Just because time wise, I want to be able to finish on time at 4:30. So guys, anytime that if you do need some help with something, message your manager. We want to help you. I just also want to get everybody else done by the time I told you guys we were going to be done, right? And then or you can just stick around on this for a couple minutes afterward, and we can help you out. All right. So next thing, when you're done with that step, and whoever that was that doesn't quite hasn't seen exactly where we're at yet, just kind of take some notes, and hopefully it makes sense after. All right. So guys, when it comes to your list, this is kind of the foundation of your list. And what I mean about that is, you obviously, I mentioned this, the more people on your initial list, the pickier you get to be with who you want to show to. Okay. The pickier that you are about who you want to show to, the better quality leads. Now, I don't know any of these people, right? But I'm going to coach you through some of it tomorrow, right? So I'm not going to say show this person, but I'm going to give you a system of like, hey, this gives this person a plus, this gives this person a plus, that kind of thing. So the objective is you want to try and build as many resources as you can to start this job. Well, when you just went through your phone, what it did is maybe it gave you 20 on the list. Maybe it gave you 50. Maybe it gave you 100, right? I don't know what your number is. But what I want you to be focused on is adding more people to this. So in your Q app, guys, there's a spot on the home screen. You guys see right here on my screen, that little plus? You can add more to it. So if you click on that, it gives you an option to add more customers. You wouldn't add the friends. You would add people that, could be potential over 30, have a job type of deal. Does everybody follow that? Okay. Now, this is a really nice thing that the app has. So everybody that you put in and categorize as a friend, they pop up on a list like this, and they have this little icon. If you want to, you could click that, and you could send a text to try and get some more phone numbers. Everybody follow that? If you're like most students, you probably don't have a lot of your buddies' parents' numbers saved in your phone, right? So what you could do is send a text that says, hey, just got a new job, and for training, I need to do some practice appointments so I can get some experience. What's your mom's number so I can reach out and see if she'll let me practice with her? Okay? You don't have to use that. That's the stock one. I think it works pretty well, and I'm saying I think because I know we've had people use it. But if you want, you can click send, right? And it automatically sends. What's nice with this is you can move fast. You could change the language if you want. When you send this text, if you send this text, it actually comes from your phone. Does everybody follow that? So it shows up from you in your text history. This isn't like through the app or anything, okay? And then you could add some of those phone numbers in there. All right, so here are some resources that you can use to build your list. I would take a picture of this or write these down, one of the two. Everybody's a little different, right? Some people, they got enough in their phone. Some people want to ask mom and dad to help. We've had people that have, I didn't even know that this was a thing, but we've had people in the last couple of weeks that you just made your account right on Q. We've had people that have actually, if mom and dad are cool with the job, that they've actually downloaded Q on mom or dad's phone and then went through it with mom or dad, right? And mom or dad was able to say yes, 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 no, no, no. And then those ones automatically sync up with your phone. Everybody follow that? Now, I went home and I asked my mom and dad for help. My parents were like, nope, you're on your own, right? So, your family situation is some parents are like, yeah, let's get this. We want to help you out. My parents were not like that until I started. And after I started doing the job and they got to see the product, then they were supportive. Address book, your address book or family address book. Facebook is a good resource. Guys, I got most of mine from going through people that I went to school with and looking up numbers. Not in the yearbook, but in directories, online. Some of you have directories to church, synagogue, neighborhood, country club, and then sports rosters. So step one would be after you get through this, after you get through the Q app, the objective would be to try to find more numbers and then put them into Q. Okay? So Guys, this is all about the phone numbers. I'm going to teach you how to make calls tomorrow. I'm going to teach you how to grade people. I'm going to teach you who the best prospects are, and we're going to actually make our first calls. You heard Luis's tip, which was like, go after it phoning basically, right? Try and get as many booked before training's done as possible. Well, the more resources that you have, the better. So let me give you some assignments. Okay. So guys, here's the assignment. How many numbers do you need? 30. That's it. You just need 30 to be able to get started. Now, guys, on our side, what can we see? We can see your name. We have an account for each person in our queue. So if you connected yourself with the Minneapolis office, I can say, you pop up on my manager roster, if you will. And in there, if I click on the person, it says how many appointments that you did, right, which you haven't done any yet. It gives phone statistics, like how many calls you've made, all that. And then it also says how many contacts. So it doesn't say who they are. It would just say like 57, 150. Does it make sense? So what's nice with that is that allows the manager to be able to coach a little bit more. So 30 is the minimum. I want to incentivize you though. Anybody that's over 100, we're going to do a drawing. We're going to do 4 winners of $50 cash. Does everybody get that? Anybody over 100, you get your name in the drawing. Every 25 after that is another name in the drawing. Last week, the person that had the most was 500. That is an obscene amount of contacts. I know that, right? Why do I incentivize 100? I incentivize 100 because when somebody gets to 100, they're really not limited at all. Does everybody, I hope you get that. You don't have to. I don't want you to feel like, hey, if I can't get to 100, I'm not going to do well. That's not the case. Okay.
Are you saying 100 contacts or like 100 of the
contacts.
Like not friends?
Contacts. Yep. So if you need questions on this too, like I said, after training, your manager is going to talk with you on it. But normally what works is like you go through your phone, you see where you're at, and then you kind of know like, okay, this is how many I'm at. I think I get to 100. Or if I'm going to get to 100, the only way is by mom or dad helping me, or by doing some research online, or having, hitting up some friends or something like that. So you got to kind of all figure out your own thing. If you're super busy tonight, I would say try and get it done tonight. Don't leave it to tomorrow. If you have to do it tomorrow morning, do it tomorrow morning. Right. But this is one of those things where I talk about like, hey, the value of working hard on the assignments. This thing makes a big difference. You guys met Luis. Luis sold he had so many appointments signed up. He had 230 people on his contact list. He did not call 230, but he was picky because he had so many. Right. Julia Zook, she had exactly 100. So she worked hard to get to exactly 100 to be in the drawing. Right. And so Haley, how many did Tyler Strauss have? I see your lips moving. I don't know if you're talking. Haley Dolan. Oh, I think she's on a phone call. So most of the people that have the biggest fast starts, it's usually over 100. So I want to encourage you to do that. Guys, for training today, I thought like we're done on time, which is always a good sign, right? Tomorrow's stuff, we're going to go over set prices and everything. It's going to make a lot more sense to you as well throughout that. When we end here, there's going to be a few people that we need to stick around in a breakout, right? For your manager's going to have a few more questions for you. So if it pops up, go ahead and do that. If it pops up on your screen right now, go ahead and click join breakout. Everybody else, you guys did a great job today. We start tomorrow at 11. So try and be on a little bit before 11 o'clock tomorrow. All right. Call your managers with any questions that you have afterward. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Adios. What up, people? Here we are, just the Minneapolis squad. Hey guys, this is our staff too. You guys see Mason Lee? He's in my corner. I don't know where he's at on your screen. Mason's one of our assistant managers, and you have Karen, Jack Ryan, Chanda. Awesome. Okay. All right. So hey guys, welcome to the Minneapolis team. But more importantly, this isn't everybody from Minneapolis that was in training. We held you guys after. You're held after class, not because you did anything wrong. So really a couple reasons. So the first thing is, after the first day of training, the interview process is fast, right? And it's hard for us, especially with the number of people that we have applying right now, for us to actually get a really good feel for somebody. And so we're pretty good at picking out like who we think can do well with the job. But really, the 3 days of training is kind of like a tryout. And what I mean by that is like, okay, now we're getting to see somebody interact, how engaged they are they taking notes, like all that kind of stuff, right? Well, when it comes to the first day of training, I'm holding you after to let you know you did awesome. And from the interview, as well as the first day today, Colleen, myself, you're the ones that were selected that we think are most set up to crush it right away. Okay? So that's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. I hope that doesn't put any pressure on you, right? So the purpose of me telling you this is not for you to be like, oh no, right? It's meant to be like, hey, I think you're in a really good position. All right. So keep doing exactly what you're doing. If there was a black market of gambling on who's going to sell the most Cutco, like we would place bets on you. Okay. There's no black market for it, but without sports betting, okay. The second reason that I wanted to keep you after training was to encourage you to really go for it. Okay. Hold on one second. Bobby said okay. The second thing is to really encourage you guys to go for it with the names list, right? So what I'm telling you is based on, you might even have a friend that works here. A lot of you guys do, and your friend's probably doing really well. So that helps. That actually is one of the indicators of future success is if somebody has a friend that's crushing it, because the belief is just there of like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, right? Like with Rebecca, right? Like Julia's doing so great. We're like, well, if Julia's crushing it, Rebecca's got to be able to see that and be like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I at least will do well, right? And so that's what we hope that you see. The names list is such a difference maker that I really want to encourage you to do everything that you can, shake the tree per se, right? Like do everything you can to get as many resources as possible. You're going to decide who you want to call. But when you're looking at a massive list, there's no way to feel other than confident because you have options, right? And even if I've had plenty of people after the first day of training are like, I'm a little nervous. I'm like, nervous, confident, a big list helps you either way, right? So do whatever you can on that to kind of feel good about it. I like to teach faster and more advanced stuff. However, we can only go kind of as fast as what the training group is moving, right? So I would like to go over some extra stuff on how to have 5 keys on big fast starts. So I'm going to do that tomorrow at 10:30. If you're able to make it, awesome. It's 30 minutes before training. If you can't, don't sweat it, right? This is one of those that's like invitation, not obligation type of deal. So if you can do it, awesome. But if you can't, no sweat. At the end of now, right when we're done, your manager, like your personal coach, is going to call you quick. Here's how the call is going to go. Hey, how was training? Do you have any tech issues? Do you got any questions? And then they're basically going to see like, hey, what are you thinking? How are you feeling about the job? One of the questions that we ask a lot is like, hey, how are mom and dad about the job? That matters because it's easier to do the job with a lot of support than it is with lack of support. My mom and dad, lack of support is what I had. And then as I started to show them I'm driven, I'm working hard, I'm getting up early, and I'm making money, then they were like, okay, cool, now we support you, right? So what I tell people is I'm like, hey, if your parents are uncertain, have them be one of your first appointments, because then they'll see and they'll be like, oh, okay. And usually that helps them kind of come around as well. Other than that, guys, I don't want to keep you too long. I just wanted to tell you, great job. You're joining the #1 office in the entire country. By a lot, by the way. While we were in training, I'm saying this because I'm excited, not to brag. I got a text from our CEO, the guy that hand signs those president's letters, right? And was like, he said $144,000 in May, ... Right? Like that's never happened, just so you know, like the week that we just had has never happened in the history of the company in the month of May. And you guys are getting the same training of everybody that's on the team that's been doing that. We're excited about having you. And yeah, let's get after it. So good luck on your guys' assignments tonight. You don't really need to do much other than the names list thing, and then we'll talk to you guys at 10:30 tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. Adios, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Adios.
I feel like I'm in the Sahara. Let's see here. Yeah, no, it's 76 right now. Dang.